Healthy beaches, and by E. coli Termite and Pest Control.
I'm Beth Farnsworth, joined by C.J. Ward and David Bolton, Old Spanish Days historian and first Vice Presidente. Welcome.
Welcome. This is going to be fun today.
There's nothing quite like Fiesta Parade Day here in this town.
It's fun.
Unbelievable.
It is. We can feel the energy already. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, we're kind of at the epicenter of the parade. We're at State Street and Camarilla, right across the street from the Dolphin Fountain. So if you're looking for a place to set up, come on down and join us.
That's right. Tens of thousands of people lining Camarilla Boulevard. First new location this year and the first time in person in 3 years, David.
Unbelievable that we're able to bring the Fiesta Parade back to the community. And this route is a historic route. In the early days, the parade was here along Camarilla, and then we moved into downtown on State Street. And with everything going on with the restaurants and the businesses, for this year, we're here along Camarilla from Castillo Street all the way down until we get just past the Hilton Hotel. And when we look at the Fiesta Parade, we're in the 98th year of Old Spanish Days. And this parade is full of history, tradition, and there's nothing quite as special as our historic Fiesta Parade.
Since 1924, the Fiesta Parade has been one of the year's highlights. It originally traveled down State Street and later began on Camarilla Boulevard and then making its way up State Street. Traditions, generations, a fiesta celebration. El Desfile Histórico has meant so much to so many for decades. History, equestrian, music and dance.
When it started off, it was a historic parade. We might have one float that would show, or perhaps an element that would show our original people here, would have the chumash, the arrival of the Europeans. There might be one with Cabrillo. The parade has always been the centerpiece of Fiesta. So the years that we had, for instance, the earthquake of 1925, and people say, oh, we didn't have a fiesta that year. We didn't have a fiesta parade because where the earthquake did the most damage was down on State Street, and there was no way you could get a parade through that. But we still had other elements of fiesta. But that's why the Fiesta Parade, really Santa Barbara looks at that as sort of the keynote of the Fiesta experience.
Sorry, incredible. The history behind all of this, the pageantry.
Decades of excitement, decades of community, decades of horses. It's one of the largest equestrian parades in the entire country. And everyone comes together for this. Our local businesses, community members. It's just such a celebration here throughout the town of Santa Barbara.
And of course, there's one big draw, right? Who's touring right now up and down Camarilla Boulevard? That would be
Mr. John Palmentary, talking about Mr. History. I mean, how long has John been doing these parades? So, John Palmentary, where are you?
I've been here since the early 80s. I mean, not standing here waiting for my cue to go on, but I am so excited to be on the 98th Old Spanish Days broadcast, El Desfile Histórico. Take a look at the crowds that have come out after 2 years off from the pandemic. This would be the side of the hotels right by the Harbor View Inn. Let's go across to the other side of the street. Let's say hi to the VIPs here. Pat McElroy, our former city fire chief, got a good front row seat. So many of our friends here. Take a look. They all paid a little extra to get a reserved seat in a canopy. Gerd and Pete Giordano. How are you guys? Now, they've got more Fiesta parades than I do. Rick Sawyer's over here, and all the people by the Dolphin Fountain right behind you guys. But someone who's really going to be on center stage today is Janine's Restaurant, and owner Allison Hardy is joining us here. Here she comes, and you have done so much. Nice to see you here. And what have you done for Janine's here on the corner of State and Cabrillo?
We have balloons, margaritas, wonderful, just beautiful breakfast for everyone. Spanish-style breakfast.
A lot of decorations outside that weren't here earlier this week. A lot of work has gone into this.
We did. We have flags, Spanish-style flags, Fiesta, anything we could find, we hung.
You have been here, I think, your whole life.
I grew up in Santa Barbara. Love it. Love this tradition.
What does this mean for a business owner and you as someone who's been in the parade as a little one?
Oh, this is amazing. We need these traditions. I need them. It brings me out. We start to gather again. We come together as a community. It's a historic tradition in Santa Barbara. I grew up with them since I was about 4. And now to be at Janine's to be at the center of it is just fantastic. I'm so honored. We're so honored. Our staff is so excited. We did not have a hard time getting people to work today. This was one of those days everybody wants to be here.
That's great. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Janine's for putting on such a great backdrop for the location here for the public. We'll see you. I think it's sangria is the special drink? Margaritas, okay. I thought she might have made some sangria. Well, there you have it. We'll be out here all day getting some of the comments from people who have been so excited. We'll be on both sides of State Street. As you know, the new route for this year will go all the way down to the Chromatic Gates, Calle Puerto Vallarta, and we'll see what's going on the other side, all the way down past the skate park and the rest of Chase Palm Park. So here I am on Cabrillo Boulevard, ready for the Old Spanish Days, El Desfile Histórico Parade. And I know I got to wrap up because the police are coming through any second now, and they're going to starting this parade. There's our Santa Barbara Police Department motor team. Beth, CJ, David, back to you.
All right, John, thank you so much. And of course, CJ and David, all the pageantry kicked off Wednesday night with a Pequeña. So much tradition with that actual event, highlighting so many of the traditions over the decades.
Pequeña, that's a spectacular start every year. And the Fiesta family every year consists of the El Presidente or La Presidente, the Spirit and the Junior Spirit, and also Saint Barbara. And we could not do a parade in Santa Barbara without talking about our patron saint, Santa Barbara.
Saint Barbara, truly an important participant in every Fiesta parade. Saint Barbara is regarded as the protectress against sudden death, traditionally death by lightning, fire, flood, or earthquake. Santa Barbara and the Mission have seen their share of earthquakes, including massive quakes in 1925 and 1812. Remarkably, few deaths have been attributed to any of these disasters. Saint Barbara is a regular at the Fiesta Parade and other events throughout town, making this city unique among California cities in that its patron saint is regularly portrayed in community pageants. This has been a Santa Barbara tradition for more than 100 years.
Incredible to see, to look back and to see all of the tradition and how it's still brought forward today, David.
The history in Santa Barbara is incredible. And when you look at St. Barbara and the spirits and Fiesta, and we go back to the founding of the Presidio in 1782, the founding of the Mission in 1786, and Old Spanish Days Fiesta really celebrates the Rancho period. It's the time when Spanish was still the language here. It was the time after the mission system ended, 1833 to the late 1840s. And it's a time, some say, the best time to live here. There were parties, fiestas, fandangos. It was just an awesome time to be in Santa Barbara. It still is, even better then. And Old Spanish Days really is set up to honor that period, honor our culture, our traditions, the history, and continue these fiestas.
And we still have a connection to a lot of the families from that period. We see it in some of the floats. We talk about the families and the parties they would throw back then and how they were basically legendary. We still talk about those parties.
Some of those parties, they say, would go for 3 days. I remember one of the weddings of one of the daughters of Comandante, Jose de la Guerra. The party lasted for 3 days. It's depicted in one of the murals on the second floor of the courthouse, and it was a fandango. And it's just a special time when you can have a fiesta. And fiesta means more than just its literal translation of party. It's all-encompassing. It's opening your doors. It's inviting friends, inviting other neighbors to come and really enjoy and celebrate. And these families, the descendants, los descendientes, all throughout town. Some of the big names, De la Guerras, Codas, Ortega, their descendants not only fill our town on a daily basis, but they take such pride in Fiesta. They take such pride in this Old Spanish Days Fiesta Parade.
And we've expanded. It's now a 5-day party,
That's right?
It's a 5-day party. Starts on the Wednesday, goes all the way into the weekend.
Sunday, yeah.
And, you know, even the week before, there's fiestas all over. So Fiesta is really just one of those things that I think we always have on our mind here in Santa Barbara.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, safety, I have to mention, is also a big part of Fiesta. And one of the groups, of course, keeping us safe throughout all of this, Santa Barbara Police Department, kicking off our parade today. And they're still assembling. We've got our special news channel team as well riding in the parade. And of course, bringing you the news on a daily basis from early morning until late at night. And we've got a shot of the parade right now, excuse me, of the team.
Hey, CJ, for those of us who have the great fortune to ride in this parade, this is where it all starts. Elise, it is fun to be back, isn't it?
It really is. It's been 2 years because of COVID. Everybody's back. There's dozens of floats here. We're about to get on. We're waiting for our turn. But yeah, it's really a privilege to be a part of this community event.
Yeah, here at Pershing Park, this is what they call the staging area. There's horses everywhere and different groups checking in, getting ready to get on their carriage. And we have our steps here. We've seen number 12 was the most recent one that just came through. We're going to be on number 20, so we're keeping a close eye on when it's going to be our turn. Over there you can see the VIP area where some of the dignitaries are hanging out and enjoying themselves. There's many horses all around, and we are just so excited to check out this new parade route all along the ocean.
Yes, just along the waterfront, breathtaking views of the ocean. A new route used to go up State Street, but they've changed it this year because of all the patios and parklets on State Street. So a new route, we're going to test it out this year. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it really is just a great honor for us to be here to ride in this parade and to be here with you today. We'll be waving to you here in a short amount of time. We'll be hopping on, so Beth and CJ will look for you here in about 10 minutes or so when we're riding along in this parade.
All right, so nice to see them gathering there. That's where all the action is happening. Of course, all the horses are in the grounds there at Santa Barbara City College this morning.
And that's the staging area.
Yes.
And it is a sight to be seen.
It is.
And we're so fortunate at Old Spanish Days to have such a great broadcast partner of KUIT. I remember looking back in some of the archives. KUIT has done the coverage of this parade since the 1960s. It's been here every year. It's done the Pequeña since the 1980s, and Old Spanish Days really appreciates everything that KUIT does for this community and for our fiesta.
And we love it. It's so much fun to come out here during Fiesta Week and go to the different events and host or hostess some of the events. We've really enjoyed it every year.
And I love the technology now. We have friends, family through other states and other countries, frankly, we're able to tap in and to be here.
Live stream, watch the live stream of the parade and Pequeña. And that's for a lot of folks. For a lot of folks who really can't make it out to some of these events, that's the way to do it. We live stream it and they enjoy it.
We get calls, we get emails at the OSD office all year. People are able to tune in from not only throughout this country, but also throughout the world to really see something that is really, truly special, and that's Santa Barbara's Fiesta.
Yeah. I have to ask, and I know this is a tough question to answer, if you had to say the number one top thing that you love best about this particular parade, what would it be?
I think this parade includes so many different people, and that is what I think is so special.
All the different groups. Now, this year we have more than 50 entries, from my understanding, David?
Yeah, it's a little smaller than normal, but we had a couple cancellations at the last minute, but it's really going to be spectacular. There's 380 horses in this parade. It's one of the largest equestrian parades in the country, and when you look at the size of the horses and the groups of horses that come through and the charros and our carriages with local companies and elected officials, and then, as you mentioned, the descendants and the floats, so colorful. It's really just going to be just a spectacular day.
Los Niños de las Flores. The children walking down Cabrillo Boulevard right now, the flower kids, I want to say the flower girls and boys who are part of this celebration leading off the parade.
So they were called for many years the flower girls, but recently some young guy children, some juniors wanted to join as well. So Old Spanish Days about 4 years ago officially changed the name to Los Niños de las Flores, and they're officially the ambassadors. We saw them, as you mentioned, Wednesday at Fiesta Pequeña on the steps to start that spectacular evening, and they go to the rest homes throughout our community every day. I think on the opening day on Wednesday, they were at dozens of senior homes throughout this community, bringing the joy and really representing this organization and our fiesta in a great way.
And for some of it, it's hard to break that habit of just calling them the Flower Girls.
Right, that's right.
That's what I was doing on Pequeña, kept referring to the Flower Girls, but it's
Los Niños de las Flores, 71st year. Really amazing.
And they were really started initially by one of the local native daughter chapters. And the program got so big that they asked Old Spanish Days would you help and would you take this program over? And the Native Daughters, you know, being such a historic organization in town, both of the local parlors play such a big role in our Old Spanish Days Fiesta.
And of course, accompanied by Las Señoritas. The Spirit of Fiesta, we want to welcome 2022 Spirit of Fiesta Terra Mata.
And she's 19 years old and a recent graduate from Santa Barbara City College. She's headed to San Francisco State University in the fall. Congratulations. She's followed by her court, Isabella Ricci, Jack Harwood, Sarah Noretto, Jamie Lynn Rodriguez, Elise Hernandez Alvarado, Faith Garcia, and Evelyn Udino. Viva la Fiesta!
Terra Mata has been such a joy for this organization, a really strong representative. She's danced at Pequeña. She's leading the official parade here, as the Spirit always does every year, and Terra Mata has represented this community very well over these past few days, and she's going to continue to be such a pleasure to have in so many events. And she'll be participating, I think, after this parade in 4 or 5 additional dances this evening. So it's just a great addition to Fiesta.
As they were pelting you with flowers, by the way. We have to say they were aiming for David with the flowers.
Yes, we got a nice loud laugh from the flower girls and boys. We've got the music accompaniment for Sofia now is Mariachi Mexicanissimo.
Mexicanissimo. Mariachis are just such a dynamic part of Fiesta, and I think it would be really great at this moment. Maybe we can hear their music up full and really enjoy these sounds of the mariachis.
Absolutely.
All right, now we want to welcome St. Barbara. And David, you gave us a really nice history about the important role, the critical role that she plays.
St. Barbara this year, Lynn Kirst, she's a community volunteer and has done so much in this community. And the Reina del Mar parlor of our Native Daughters, they've selected St. Barbara every year since 1926. Lynn is a 4th generation Santa Barbaran. She's been through local schools, a graduate of the University of Southern California, and she also has been at so many events this year, our patron saint here in Santa Barbara.
She looks absolutely beautiful. I was complimenting her on her white patent leather boots as well. She looked just so incredibly lovely.
Next we have Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office Mounted Unit. The Sheriff's Unit is a sworn law enforcement unit staffed by the men and women of the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. The unit provides law enforcement services throughout Santa Barbara County, and you'll often find these deputies patrolling county parks, open spaces, and special events.
And the unit also provides crowd control, of course, for large-scale events throughout the county and the entire state. The mounted unit horses are owned by the deputies, and they must undergo rigorous training and testing standards to ensure that they are suited for the job of law enforcement mount. The unit enjoys participating in our local parades as a way of saying thank you to the entire community for their support and appreciation of local law enforcement.
The charros.
Talk a little bit about the horses that we are seeing, David.
This is our first charro group. Our second group of horses, we had the county sheriffs that came through, and the charros are rural cowboys from Mexico. There's 2 versions. Either it originated in the Basque area of northern Spain, or the word originated in the Arabic language and was brought to Spain and brought here. And these charro groups have played such an important role in the history of Mexico. Actually, during the War of Independence, when Mexico won its independence from Spain, charro horses and the riders participated on both sides of that war.
Wow. And the way the sidestepping, the training that goes into what they do.
The talent of all of the charro entries in this Fiesta Parade is just brilliant. They are great horsemen, and as I mentioned, they're known for coming from the rural areas of Mexico, and they come in their outfits, and they're now known equally for the outfits that they wear.
And different temperaments, correct?
And you look at the saddles. They're beautiful.
Early on, they were in very simple uniforms, but as we've come through the last 150 years, their outfits more ornate. You mentioned the silver and other things that they have now become known for, and the charro groups are always accompanied now by a musical group in the back.
And David, I just mentioned the word temperament, because some horses spook easier than others. Obviously, these horses are able to withstand these loud horns, used to it. We want to welcome now La Presidenta, Todos Juntos en Familia, 2022 Fiesta theme inspired by a painting of Theodore Van Sena, a fandango at De la Guerra House. And this year's La Presidente Maria Cabrera, her family, husband, children, daughter-in-law, grandchildren, and friends all enjoying an afternoon of dancing.
It's been such a pleasure to be on the Fiesta board this year with Maria Cabrera, our La Presidente this year. She chose the name La Presidente. It's one of those Spanish words that end in N-T-E that you don't change the L or the La. It always ends in Presidente. There were several South American presidentas, and they wanted presidenta, so now both versions. But Maria, who's originally from Colombia, wanted La Presidente, and she's on this family float, and her theme, Todos Juntos en Familia, has been something that we've been feeling and enjoying, and she's known, as we saw at Pequeña the other night, to dance. The family, the Cabrera family, they're a dancing family. Her daughter was the only, she's on there now, Marisol, the only spirit, junior spirit in St. Barbara, the only person in the history to have all three of those titles.
Oh and I'm glad you explained the La Presidenta and the La Presidente, because that's a big question that a lot of people have.
Montecito Bank and Trust, our next group, gold sponsor of Fiesta, the largest and oldest locally owned community bank in Santa Barbara County.
And you'll see the bank's chairman and CEO, Janet Rufus, along with several bank associates. Behind every great community is a great bank, of course. Put your hands together for the bank that's won 23 Best Bank Awards in the last 9 years. Santa Barbara, Montecito Bank and Trust.
And Montecito Bank and Trust has been a supporter of Old Spanish Days in our Fiesta and so many things in this community for so many years. A great, great local bank.
What can you tell us about the carriage that they're riding in, David?
All of these carriages are stored at the Western Art and Carriage Museum here, and they're brought out once a year for this parade. And it's just really one of those special things we have here, these carriages.
We also want to honor the Grand Marshal, the Marboard family this year, passing by right now.
You know, we should take this opportunity, too, if you've not been down to the Carriage Museum, should go down there and look at some of the beautifully restored carriages.
Absolutely. Santa Barbara Mayor, Junior Spirit passing by. We'd like to welcome the 2022 Junior Spirit of Fiesta, Leila Gokong, accompanied by Mayor Pro Tem Megan Harmon, filling in for Mayor Randy Rouse this year.
It's tradition for the mayor or the mayor's representative to accompany the Junior Spirit in the parade, and Saturday, the Children's Parade, which will also be along Cabrillo Boulevard, the Junior Spirit, Leila Gokong, will be leading that parade, which is tradition for Old Spanish Days.
Incredible. She is just enchanting to watch. Her moves, her dancing, and we were talking earlier, I think these dancers put miles on their feet during this event. Hacienda Amador is owned and operated by the Abud family. The ranch is located in the Santa Ynez Valley, and the family enjoys helping the community and offer a guest house for those wishing to visit wine and horse country.
And all of the outfits that we see everybody in is just something so special about our Santa Barbara Fiesta. The horses, the carriages, and the outfits that everybody puts on, it just gives you that great feeling here on the Friday of Fiesta.
And a lot of these carriages that we see, the older ones that have been restored, were really the carriages that came over the pass back in the late 1800s.
That's right.
All of these carriages have great history, and many people have donated them. The collection is one of the finest of carriages anywhere here at the Western Art and Carriage Museum. It's our home as well at Old Spanish Day, and you know, to see the carriages and then the transition to the charros, that's what Fiesta's all about.
Which we're going to do right now. We want to welcome Rancho Arroyo and the group of friends spending a lot of time training their horses. Charros, also known as Mexican Cowboys, are a Mexican tradition that has really lasted for hundreds of years. Rancho Arroyo has been in many parades throughout Southern California.
The charros, every year we have 6, 7, 8 groups of charros, and it really adds excitement to the parade. It gives that music, but it also shows, Beth, as you mentioned a little while ago, that great horsemanship that these charros really bring to this parade.
Look at the extensive braiding that they do along the mane. And again, you're talking about the saddles, the ornate leather, the decorations, the tooling.
The horses know they're performing right now. You can watch them as they kind of do their dance.
We want to welcome the Navy League. A round warm of applause for the folks joining us now. The 2 crew members of the U.S. Navy's newest ship, the USS Santa Barbara. The ship is a 400-foot multi-mission combat ship. It is scheduled to be commissioned here locally in early 2023. And joining them today is the ship's official sponsor, Santa Barbara's own Lola Zinc.
And for more information on the upcoming Santa Barbara events for the ship and its crew, please look up the Santa Barbara Navy League and usssantabarbara.org.
We want to welcome now a float depicting the historic Old Mission Santa Barbara. Founded in 1786, the mission has been at the center of the community in Santa Barbara for nearly 250 years.
And David, I know you'll have a few things to say about this one.
Franciscan hospitality at its best. Wednesday night and here today, it's our chance to honor the Franciscans and honor the mission. This was the 10th mission in the chain of 21 California missions. It was always Junipero Serra's dream to establish a mission in Santa Barbara. He originally established the Presidio, and at the time, he called it the Presidio y la Misión. But he had an issue with the governor. The governor at that time didn't want any more missions. So they took the name Misión, mission, off of the Presidio. Father Serra waited 2 years from 1782 when the Presidio was founded to 1784, wanting his beloved mission Santa Barbara to be created. He passed away in 1784. 2 years later, in 1786, Father Lausuen, the successor of the California missions, was here to raise the founding cross at Mission Santa Barbara.
Oh, an incredible story.
That was the beginning of the mission.
And what's interesting about Mission Santa Barbara, it is the only mission from the very first day of its establishment to today that has been operated as a church. The Franciscans were there the entire time. In fact, when Governor Pio Pico was giving away most of the missions, a local businessman stepped in and bought the mission so that Pio Pico, the governor, couldn't give it away. And once Pio Pico then was out, the local businessman gave it back to the Franciscans, but he allowed them to stay there even while he was the owner, and it kept it away from being given away by Pio Pico.
Incredible story. And again, as you say, they have been so incredibly open and generous with the community, hosting so many different events throughout the year, of course. Pequeña La Misa, which occurred yesterday, which was another beautiful tradition. Rancho Las Palmas passing by now. These charros are representing Rancho Las Palmas and came to celebrate Las Fiestas Españolas for people to come and have a really wonderful time enjoying the community of Santa Barbara.
The 2019 officers are present: Jerry Jones, Board Chairman Roger Hewitt, and Ride Captain Gus Gorte. Viva la Fiesta.
Most of the charros that are in our parade are quite seasoned. They participate in several parades. We see them throughout California. Charro groups come from other states sometimes. Groups from here in California go to other states for their parades. But even though other states have parades, I don't think any parade is better than our El Desfile Histórico, Fiesta's historic parade.
It's just well known throughout the western U.S.
Is it true that this is the largest equestrian parade west of the Mississippi?
It's definitely one of the largest, and depending on the years, New Mexico has a parade, there's one in Arizona. I think each state says that theirs is the largest, but this is definitely in the top 2 or 3.
And next we want to welcome the past El Presidentes. There are very few of the past El Presidentes of years gone by. They are your community leaders and advisors to the future of Santa Barbara.
And their long-term commitment continues well past their roles of Presidente. They have all been honored to serve as Old Spanish Days Presidentes, and today we have Rudy Castillo, 1976, with his granddaughters, and Mike Danley, 1997.
It's interesting about Rudy Castillo. He was the Presidente in 1976, and that's the first year that the Presidente designed the poster. And they did it that year because of the bicentennial. And it's a tradition that continues today. The Presidente every year gets to pick the theme and the poster. And also this year, the Outriders that are very special. Rhonda Henderson, who was La Presidente in 2017, is one of the Outriders, along with her husband, Ben Feld, a great Fiesta supporter. Rhonda's year in 2017, awesome.
Viva la Fiesta! And we would like to welcome Santa Barbara City Council, huge supporters, of course, of all different events throughout the community, including Old Spanish Days each year.
And the relationship with the city is huge, obviously, to put this something like this on every year, and with Pequeña as well.
The cooperation with the city is unbelievable. They are with us every step of the way. The staff, Sarah Knowles in the Park and Recs Department, is our point person, coordinating the applications, the permit, health codes, everything for all of our events, from the Mercados to the parade. And to have the city officials here, the city council members joining us today, it's such a pleasure. Oscar Gutierrez, Kristen Snedden, Alejandra Gutierrez.
And we talked to them a little bit ago, our news channel team, passing by in a carriage.
We gave them a promotion earlier, saying that they were starting off the parade. I guess we didn't get that one right, but it is great to see them in the parade, and they're riding in a nice, very nice carriage.
We have Joey and Kelsey. Kelsey Gherkin's Butita, Joey Butita, of course, married couple and parents of 2 beautiful little boys, Elise and Scott Hennessy. Elise Martinez, who's also a mother of a beautiful little son and who's growing older, and Scott Hennessy.
And KOIT, since the early days of the parade in the mid-1900s, has been televising it. There's black and white coverage of the parade from KOIT. There's color when the format was 3/4-inch tape. There's beta. There's digibeta. There's probably been 5 or 6 tape format changes, and that shows you how long KEYT has been a valued partner of Old Spanish Days.
And some of the old film is now at UCSB being transferred over. So that's going to be preserved for generations to come, because a lot of that film was just sitting in a building over on the east side of Santa Barbara and just kind of rotting away, basically.
We want to welcome now the O'Shea Family Foundation and the next carriage, local hero and St. Barbara 2020, Teresa Kuski-Nowak. She is the 3rd generation Santa Barbaran, founder and owner of the popular La Boheme Productions.
Rick O'Shea recently came into town, and he's been such a supporter of so many community organizations and everything. And Rick O'Shea, he really has done a lot for a lot of our community nonprofits and other groups. And Teresa Kuski also, St. Barbara in 2020, was one of those years that we didn't have a Fiesta Parade. And Teresa Kuski with Rick O'Shea riding in the carriage is really a moment to bring history with the 2020 St. Barbara, and Rick O'Shea, who's done so much to support our local nonprofits.
And a long-standing tradition, the De La Guerra wedding entry represents an actual event that took place back in 1836 when Anita de la Guerra, daughter of Don Jose de la Guerra, Comandante of the Presidio, married Alfredo Robinson.
We talk about those legendary parties, and this is one of them.
3 days. It's now, as CJ said, a 5-day party. The De La Guerra wedding party has been a part of Fiesta probably since the very first Fiesta parades. In fact, last year, the De La Guerra wedding party participated in the 2022 Rose Parade. It was the 2nd time that we've had a representative of Santa Barbara. Old Spanish Days had a carriage and a whole other group of people, including the De La Guerra wedding party, back around, I think it was 2015 in the Rose Parade. So now they've done 2 of them. And so we welcome all of the Deleguera wedding party.
Fiesta.
And this year, the Lobero Theater celebrates their exciting sesquicentennial. I know I'm just butchering that, so David will correct me. A state, city landmark. The Lobero is recognized as one of Santa Barbara's architectural jewels, of course.
They're also very much looking forward to next year, which is going to be their 100th anniversary since it was rebuilt. And the rebuilding of the Lobero after so much happened here in the 1920s really spurred the first Fiesta. Fiesta was designed as a celebration of that moment at the Lobero when it reopened. And in the early days of Old Spanish days, there were pageants, plays that happened at Lobero. There's been performers. I remember Juan Talavera. My grandmother went with my mom to watch him in the 1970s there. The Lobero is so historic, such a nice venue, and such a big part of Old Spanish Days Fiesta.
I didn't realize it is California's oldest continuously operating theater. It is the 4th oldest performing arts theater in the entire country.
It's been around 150 years. The location where it's at now, that was built and christened in 1924, and that's what Old Spanish Days, the Fiesta Parade, that first one, was designed to celebrate.
We want to honor now the 2020 and 2021 Presidentes and Spirits of Fiesta. This is a special honor, of course, linked to the pandemic.
The Old Spanish Days Executive Committee really wanted to recognize the Fiesta families from 2020 and 2021. So much happened in our community, so much happened around the world in those years, and we were all geared up for Fiesta. I remember March 2020, and all of a sudden, it happened. And we didn't know if it was going to last 2 weeks. We didn't know if it was going to last a month or 2 months. What do you do with Fiesta? So much is happening in our planning during the spring. And all of a sudden, there was no Fiesta. And so the Executive Committee really wanted to honor the 2020 family. El Presidente Eric Davis, accompanied by his wife Angelique. The 2020 Spirit of Fiesta, Elena Velasco. And the Junior Spirit, Alexandra Knocker. Also the 2020 St. Barbara, who we just saw pass us in the O'Shea Family Foundation carriage. And also we decided you have to bring 2021. We had a few events last year, but it wasn't a full Fiesta like this year. So we have 2021 La Presidenta, Stephanie Petlow, the Spirit of Fiesta last year, Isabella Iturralde, and the 2021 Junior Spirit, Savannah Hoover. Also on the float, St. Barbara. St. Barbara Patricia Oreña. She's on the float. She was the St. Barbara and is here today to represent St. Barbara on that float. It's the Fiesta family. It's 2020, 2021 Old Spanish Days, and when we look back, we're gonna remember so much during those 2 years, and we're so thankful for everyone on that float for what they did in guiding this organization, being positive, and sharing so much joy to this community.
And even though we didn't have the full, all the events that we have every year, we kind of squeezed as much as we could out of it. We had Pequeña up on the hill, and we were broadcasting a lot of events over those 2 years, live streaming, so folks could stay at home and watch Pequeña and some of these Fiesta events.
Old Spanish Days was so thankful for KYT to allow us to have Pequeña on TV Hill. You almost want to do it there every year, but the problem is, Pequeña is a community event.
Yes.
But we're so thankful what KYT did, live streaming and really bringing so much to the community.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back with more from El Desfile Histórico 2022.
The WWW Foundation, Montecito Bank and Trust, and KEYT, the official broadcast partner of Old Spanish Days Fiesta.
All right, welcome back to El Desfile Histórico 2022. I'm CJ Ward, alongside Beth Farnsworth and David Bolton, and we are so proud to be delivering the parade to you today. We next have Rancho Penitas.
They're first known as Rancho Los Dos Amigos. Now, after COVID, they're known as Rancho Penitas. This group has been riding in the parade for 12 years, and they are very happy to be back at Old Spanish Days Fiesta this year. The Peña family is riding with family, friends, and from their family to yours, Viva la Fiesta.
The charros bring such excitement. The music, it just kind of really makes you almost want to get up and dance and watch. And And I'm impressed with all of the saddles and the embroidery that you mentioned in the silver. Mexico is one of those areas of the world that's always so rich in silver and gold and everything. And so when you put that with the horsemanship and you put it all together, you have the spectacular charros of Mexico.
Well, and they get a huge round of applause. I mean, we can hear the crowd here giving them, well, not only are they performing, the horses are performing,
yes.
but then you bring out the ropes. When they start doing those rope tricks, love it.
And just the fancy footwork with the horses, and you just know what kind of training goes into that.
I think every day they're probably on a horse, and I think they have a lot of fun doing it. And there's actually charreadas, which are charro competitions, one group against the other. And those are, they're almost like a sporting event where they're in an arena and you have two charro groups competing. If not two, you have 3, 4.
That's not something we have in the rodeo, is it? That would be interesting.
That's not something we have. It is probably something that would be very interesting, but it's something that so many people enjoy watching.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. Stay with us from El Desfile Histórico 2022.
Old Spanish Days Fiesta would like to thank the following for their support of Fiesta 2022. The City of Santa Barbara, Giffen Rentals, Giordano's, Pacific Beverage, Marborg Industries, and the Lobero Theater.
Hey.
Bienvenidos, welcome back to El Desfile Histórico at the wonderful site here, beautiful along the waterfront, Cabrillo Boulevard and State Street. And joining us now, Familia Charra.
The Charra family has participated in this great parade since 2010. It's a group of friends who get together to participate in many local parades. They come with a purpose of sharing a little of their Mexican traditions. They share the music of Mexico. And they're dressed in traditional charro suits. And they are saying that when you dress up as a charro, you dress up Mexico. From Mexico.
The sombreros, the outfit, we see the color that they bring to this. It's just something that is such a dynamic part of this parade. It represents our community as well. So many people in our Santa Barbara community can really relate to the charros and the outfits and dressing up Mexico. It's what they've become. They were early a very rural and a basic outfitted group, and they've really stepped it up.
Yes, and so did the horses. I love the fancy footwork. And these beautiful thick manes, gorgeous horses.
The amount of hours, unbelievable, that they spend training and riding and really putting together a show within a show.
Watching the fancy footwork of this horse across the way on Cabrillo. And the music. How many mariachi bands and different bands are in the parade today?
We don't have the high school bands that we normally have because they haven't really been performing in groups coming out of the recent restrictions we've had. But all of the charro groups have a band. This one has a 5-member musical group, and this is probably the largest charro group that we have so far. It's almost in 2 parts. There was the contingent up front, then the 5 musicos, as they call them, and then we've got the second half of this charro group. So it's almost a mini parade in itself.
And incredible, as you say, they perform throughout the state, throughout the year.
All over. There's performances and events, and everyone that's in this parade definitely participates in multiple events.
Or next we have Jed Hirsch and family, owners of General Building Contractor.
They're great Fiesta supporters as well. Viva to the entire Hirsch family, and so glad you're participating this year.
And Jed Hirsch is also in one of our carriages and the wagons and carriages that are at the Carriage Museum. It's a big job to keep them parade ready. There's a staff there under the direction of Alex and Pete Georgi and Tom Peterson, Tom Peterson's son, and everyone just, they give that special polish to the carriages and wagons, and they check the wheels, and they really make sure that they're ready for the parade. They pull them out a few weeks in advance. They check everything. They have to be safe. They have to be ready, and they have to look just like they do today, and that is very beautiful.
And they take such pride.
Yes, they do.
They take pride in that, and what's really amazing is the history they know about every one of those carriages and the saddles as well.
And like a really good cigar, they're kept in controlled conditions temperature-wise to make sure that the leather stays. These are decades old.
And so many of them came from the San Ynez area, and it's one of those areas where really the stagecoach began. And you know, there was two different routes. The first route to get to San Ynez, you went almost to Gaviota at Refugio and came over there, and then later San Marcos Pass was added. So the carriages and the wagons have been part of our history and culture here, mid-1800s, but even prior to that, Spain, when it was here, they started introducing wagons as well because they brought the horse. The Spanish introduced the horse to the Americas.
And here's another event that really is so family friend and it appeals to people of all ages, young and old. Santa Barbara Fiesta Stock, Horse Show, and Rodeo. And checking out the circus wagon, you want to say howdy to this year's Mutton Busters and future rodeo stars. These young kids will be providing thrills and some spills in the arena, riding sheep until or when the whistle blows.
And one of the outriders, Mark Vestal, a big supporter with his wife, Diana, of dance, of fiesta, flamenco, and everything in this town. And the rodeo and the stock horse show under the direction of Josiah Jenkins, past Fiesta Presidente, does so much to make that possible. It's almost a 12-month-a-year job to put on the stock horse show and the rodeo. And he's there every day, but he's also there for so many days throughout the year, dealing with all the details to make that possible.
And then we talk about the brave rodeo bullfighters. Really incredible to watch them in action. They make sure that the competitors stay safe and sound. And I want to go see them at the rodeo at the Earl Warren Showgrounds Arena tonight, Saturday night, or Sunday afternoon.
Every year it's a highlight for so many people to be at Earl Warren Showgrounds, and it's been here for so many years. In fact, the rodeo originally was on the baseball field at Pershing Park. Old Spanish Days has 2 acres, pretty much where the pitcher's mound is, and that was the original arena for horses before the land was donated and it was moved to where it is today.
Are there pictures of that? Do you have pictures?
There's pictures and everything. There was originally the electric train turnaround spot there, and it was also the arena, and that's where all of our horse shows were prior to Earl Warren Showgrounds being created.
I love thinking about what was and what is today. Really fascinating. You're bringing it all back to life. Thanks, David. And here now, the riding group known as the Lonesome Cowgirls and Cowboys.
And these are the folks we feel sorry for every year. So lonesome. Here's the riding group. It is their 28th year in the Fiesta Parade, and the men and women of this group are dedicated to preserving the heritage and history of the working cowboys and horses from the old ranches in early Santa Barbara. Cattle were pretty much the only economic enterprise, and the cowboy, or vaquero, was critical to the success of their rancho.
And the rancho period, as I was mentioning earlier, is really what Old Spanish Days celebrates. And it was not only fiesta, but there was cattle, there was agriculture. They really lived off the land, they lived off their cattle, and they had fiesta. And that is what the rancho period means to so many people.
Okay, listen. And there's still a lot of that going on today. We haven't lost any of it, really.
No, and we're so fortunate here, CJ and Beth, because we have the historic mission, we have the Presidio, but so close by, we also have rancho land, which is San Ynez. You can't get any more rancho land than San Ynez Valley.
And David, CJ, a new competition taking place right now. Who can say Viva la Fiesta louder? The folks on the ocean side or the folks on the State Street side?
Who won?
I think it was a toss-up.
All right, next we have the Santa Barbara Unified School District float.
And when you look at our school district, it really speaks fiesta because all of the spirits, so many of the presidentes, so many of the junior spirits, so many of the descendientes we talked about, all went through our local schools. And the Santa Barbara Unified School District has really been a great partner of Old Spanish Days. They've been in the parade many years. It's really one of those organizations that does so much for our town and our community by really educating and teaching our young ones and allowing them to look forward to their life.
And we talk about changes, traditional, cultural changes. The schools, as we know, have been through quite a bit in the last couple of years because of the pandemic. So this is a big deal to be part of this today.
Closures, masks, homeschooling, back to school, no sports, back to no sports again. I can only imagine, and you miss out so much because in high school, so many special things happened in our sophomore year, our junior year, and our senior year. And to miss out on that, it's sad. But for every sad thing in life, hopefully there's something bright ahead. And I don't think anyone really felt the recent years that we went through more than our students did.
Absolutely. We want to welcome now Southern California Charros, riding in its 38th year. This year we are riding in memory of the late, great Henry Gutierrez of Gutierrez Andalusians. And he loved Fiesta. He's riding in spirit with his wife, Mo Gutierrez.
I think we have to listen in on this one.
And Mo is being accompanied by the Diaz family of Rancho Jalisco, and they have performed all over with their Andalusian and Frisian stallions in movies, commercials, magazines, and videos.
Andalusia is the southern part of Spain, and it's also where I think this horse culture really began. I was in the town of Jerez and went to one of their horse shows that they do as part of flamenco, and they have an arena, and it's so special. And I think all of these horses were brought to Spain from the Middle East. They came across northern Africa, and then once the Spanish came to the Americas, they brought the horse. And Andalusia is where flamenco began. It's the southern part of Spain, Malaga, Córdoba, Sevilla, Jerez. So Andalusia, a big part of our flamenco dance, and it's also, I think, the birthplace of this horse culture that we call charros.
You ever think we'll bring back the horses? You'll see people riding horses downtown Santa Barbara again?
I don't know if downtown, but maybe that could be part of the package for this revitalization of downtown.
Yes.
Maybe we could have a horse lane on State Street. I don't know if that would be allowed.
I love that idea. We're talking about fewer cars, fewer parking spots.
It would be a great attraction. It would definitely bring people to downtown.
And more fancy footwork by the Estados. This is really a wonderful parade route, and as you say, this kind of mimics the original so many years ago.
We've seen so much historic footage of those early parade routes, and it filled. And you know, when you looked at it without people, you thought, well, maybe it misses that atmosphere, that amphitheater look. But now that it's filled on both sides, it's just a spectacular setting. It's a wide street. It allows for so much movement, and it's truly a great thing to see today as we celebrate our historic parade to be on the historic route.
Well, and can you imagine anywhere else in the country where you've got a parade route running right along the beach, the most beautiful backdrop you could ever imagine, cooler air, you know the horses got to be loving it. This is a perfect setup.
And in these last two charro groups, we had the Andalusian and the Frisian stallions, and the horsemanship, the wardrobes, the sombreros, everything that represents charro. We're seeing it here today.
And we're seeing it again with the Spanish riders, the hometown gang.
Hey, quick question about the posters. I'm surprised that the first poster was 1976. Is that what you said?
No, the first poster designed by a presidente.
Oh, okay, good.
The first poster was done in 1924.
That's what I thought, okay.
And then in the 1930s, the local gasoline company, Seaside, sponsored the posters. And those went from 1933 all the way to 41. And then there were no posters during the war years. They came back in 52. And then for 22 years, the dancing couple that we see on so many posters, it was used for 22 years. The only difference, they changed the color of the lady's dress and the man's outfit. And then in 76, they said, let's do something different after 22 years. And Rudy Castillo got together at his house on the Mesa, along with the executive committee of Old Spanish Days, and designed the first poster that was done by the executive committee and the Presidente.
And please tell me it wasn't disco related.
The theme for that?
I'm trying to throw you off.
Say that again?
Tell me it wasn't disco related.
It was not disco related.
Okay, good.
What
good.
happened was, because it was the whole executive committee, they all wanted something in it. George Orburn was on that, and he was a writer in the ANSA expedition, the reenactment of the ANSA expedition. So when they put the courthouse arch, he said, we can do that, but I need ANSA expedition writers to be in the arch. So everybody on that executive committee had something, and they put all 4 or 5 pieces together, and it made that year's poster.
So
and there was no disco ball, CJ. All right, and of course we're so honored to be providing this live streaming to you, folks who are not out here live, able to watch it from home, and we want to also honor some of our colleagues riding in this parade today.
Doubletree? Yeah.
Go ahead, you're on.
Hey everybody, Viva La Fiesta! Scott Hennessy, Elise Martinez, and Joe Butita behind the camera. Say hi, Joe. It's been just a beautiful day along the waterfront. This is the first time that we've been along the waterfront for the Fiesta Parade, and it's just gorgeous scenery. We are towards the end at Calle Puerto Vallarta. We are nearing the end by the rainbow statue over there, and lots of people out here, thousands of people. Scott, we've been having a good time.
Oh, it's so much fun seeing people that you know on this beautiful route. We get this nice breeze from the ocean, people hanging out on the grass up there by the hotel. We're nearing the end of this parade route. I don't want it to end, Elise. This is just...
Viva la Fiesta!
Viva la Fiesta!
Viva la Fiesta!
Shadow 3, KYT, say hello!
It's been just wonderful, and we are nearing the end of this parade, but for many it's not over. So enjoy, and sending it back to you.
All right, you are watching El Desfile Histórico 2022 live on Cabrillo Boulevard. We'll be right back.
Right on me staring at my phone. Birthday girl! I just got a text that it's going to be fun. Just say that Trevor. What? Oh, no. No way. We spent the last 4 days right next to each other.
Old Spanish Days Fiesta would like to thank the following for their support of Fiesta 2022. American Riviera Bank, Community West Bank, County of Santa Barbara, LinkedIn, Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians, Seaward International Company, and Union Bank.
Welcome back to El Desfile Histórico 2022. I'm CJ Ward alongside my beautiful wife, Beth Farnsworth, and David Bolton. And we're going to toss it over now to the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce and their carriage.
And they're passing by us right now along Camarilla Boulevard as we bring to you live El Desfile Histórico. This is absolutely a beautiful backdrop with the ocean behind us. David, CJ?
Chamber of Commerce, a valued partner of Old Spanish Days, all the local businesses. It's so special to see them here today.
Just an incredible turnout today. We've also had them followed up by the Long Beach Mounted Police. We want to welcome them to the Fiesta this year. The organization was founded in 1935, bringing recognition to the city of Long Beach, keeping alive California's golden traditions of horsemanship and the outdoor way of life, which we all love and embrace here in our area.
And they each ride a golden palomino, which is symbolic of California. The saddles are all unique works of art. Each is black leather, Western style, decorated by custom-made sterling silver, created by artists of the 30s and 40s, such as Edward H. Boland of Hollywood. The LB Mounted Police have ridden in 2 presidential inaugural parades, as parades in South America, Mexico, Hawaii, Canada, Wyoming, and in Oregon. So they get around.
And many others as well. So Viva la Fiesta to them. So glad they're part of this. Followed up now by Santa Barbara Mariachi Festival.
One of the highlights of Fiesta Week, the Mariachi Festival that takes place at the County Ball, which was also a former home of Old Spanish Days. The Mariachi Festival brings some of the best mariachi artists to this town. It's a spectacular evening. It's vibrant. It's full of sound and just excitement. And we're very happy to have them on their float in this parade.
And you love it on a Friday and Saturday night here in town where you just hear the music. Just fills the air in Santa Barbara. I love it. Especially
hours after the parade ends, it really does still fill the airwaves, if you will, above the city of Santa Barbara. It's lovely.
This is the 25th annual Santa Barbara Mariachi Festival. So many years it's been there in the County Bowl and bringing excitement, and a lot of the mariachi groups come a few days early, and we see them at many Fiesta events throughout town.
And of course, I think you just mentioned it's happening Saturday night.
This Saturday night, it's every Saturday of Fiesta Week, and it's at the County Ball. It's sold out, so tickets are not available. If you want to go next year, buy your ticket soon, because it's a very, very sought-after ticket.
Even worth staying by right in your car or walking over and listening to the music. It starts at 5:30 in the evening, and you definitely hear the sound.
You can hear it throughout town because it really radiates out of that County Ball, and so it's spectacular, it's colorful, and it is so truly Fiesta.
And this year's Mariachi Festival float is sponsored by Miguel Avila and the Pacific Trust Realty, Miguel Avila. So again, those really lucky people who've already purchased tickets can enjoy the music at the Santa Barbara Bowl Saturday evening.
So I think down the street, I think we hear charros again. Who can miss the sound of a charro? And this group, Los Tequileros, they're from Jalisco, and Jalisco is the epicenter, if you will, for tequila. Tequila, like champagne, you can only call it tequila if it's from the state of Jalisco, and it's from that region where there's the town of Tequila. So it's one of those protected beverages in the world, and I just wonder how much tequila is consumed during Fiesta. But you see margaritas everywhere, and nowadays tequila has become such a top shelf alcohol. You see so many different varieties, so many different brands. There's the Blanco, Reposado, the Añejo, and so this charro group really representing its culture in Jalisco.
You know a lot about tequila there, David.
As a historian, you can also want to study beverages a little bit.
Good answer.
What ranks top, in your opinion, for a margarita? What type of tequila would you include in a margarita?
I personally like the Blanco. There's also a new variety, Cristalino. And if you can get the Cristalina tequila, that's also very good. And it's not processed as much as some of the really gold tequilas.
All right, and of course celebrating safely with tequila during Fiesta, a long time tradition.
Always safely.
Always safely. horse breed, originally bred by Adolfo Camarillo, beginning back in 1921. They are a very long-standing fiesta tradition.
And they're always a crowd favorite every year.
You can just look everywhere around Cabrillo Boulevard and you hear the music. You hear it from the crowd. You hear it from our Fiesta Parade participants. It's the sounds of Fiesta, and I don't think there's anything quite like Friday in Santa Barbara during Fiesta Week.
Now these white horses carry a unique gene that gives them their brilliant white coats, dark eyes, and pink skin. Riding today from left to right is Jessica Fries on Patriot, trainer Ellie Hyatt on Juanito, Carmela Ladau, great-great-granddaughter of Adolfo Camarillo on Camarillo,
Camarillo, John Kerr on Brillante, number 2, and Elena McBride on Carmelita.
We also brought David on board this year because if we say anything wrong, he will correct us and we will say it the proper way.
So we go from charros to history, and that's those Camarillo white horses. It's a very special breed, and the Camarillo name, we all know it because if you're in Santa Barbara and you go to Los Angeles, you go right through Camarillo. So it's become synonymous with the parade. And these white horses that are coming down, they just really pop with the red outfits that everybody has on these white horses. And the name Camarillo, it was actually one of the land grants in that valley there, which corresponded to Mission San Buenaventura, which we all call the Ventura Mission. So Camarillo in that valley was very fertile land. We know it today in Oxnard, we know it in Camarillo, and it's really special to see these white horses, and even more so to look at those very fiery red outfits.
It's just incredible, the community's traditions and community support from all over. And you said that that was one of the things you found is really your favorite thing about the parade. So many people who are involved in this.
All right, next we have Community West Bank. Community West was founded in 1989 as Goleta National Bank and is celebrating 33 years in the Tri-Counties market. And joining Community West Bank today, their president, Bill Philippin.
And also commercial relationship manager Ale Ortega Botello and regional banking manager Javier Quezada. Community West is a longtime sponsor of Old Spanish Days and absolutely thrilled, like so many others participating today, to help bring it back in 2022. So special thanks to Community West Bank and team.
All of our banks in this town, they do so much for the community. So many of their members and staff participate on nonprofits. I'm on the United Boys and Girls Club board with Javier Quesada, who is on the Community West carriage, and so many banks really step up.
We want to toss over to Los Ranchos Pobres. This beautiful 1892 mountain wagon was faithfully restored by the Los Rancheros Pobres, a local men's horseback riding club, and that began back in 1952. The Pobres embodied the customs and Western attire of early American cattle ranch hands. This wagon is made for rough terrain. It has been acclaimed in past years as having the prettiest wheels in the parade.
You know, if you go up and have lunch at Cold Spring Tavern, you try to imagine one of those carriages pulling up and people jumping out of it all dusty.
Over the dirt and rocky hills. Santa Monica Mounted Posse is next.
And from the city of Santa Monica and its police department, we welcome the Posse. The Posse was organized in the early 1930s to represent the city of Santa Monica through performance parades, fire evacuations, and public relations events throughout the Southland. The distinctive black uniform with white piping, white bolo tie, and white felt Stetson hat on a horse outfitted with black saddles, breast color, and reins, and sterling silver propels this ever-popular group into the 20th century. And just that description right there tells you how much effort and work they put into having a certain look that fits exactly what this parade is all about.
Some of the best dressed members in this parade happen to be on horseback. It's fabulous to see them, the detail, the styles, just the elegance that they bring, but also that horsemanship, right? That masculine touch, but the outfits really just combine so well with the horses and the saddles and the music and really everything that they bring to this parade.
And it's a deep-rooted tradition. Over 90 years later, it is the oldest mounted police volunteer unit throughout the state of California. Really impressive. And of course, the members stand ready to assist the city of Santa Monica.
And the charros every year just fill this this parade route. And we're in such a dynamic location here in front of Janine's, and the staff's been great to us. And I think they're probably some of the most happiest people in town to be right here at the TV corner with charro coming through and the horses and the outfits and everything.
Welcome now the Santa Barbara County Firefighters, local heroes. They've been proudly serving the community since 1926. Santa Barbara Firefighters Local 2046 holds fundraisers in order to donate money to nonprofits and other community needs. And I know it's warm and sunny, but there's actually a little bit of rain coming from our fire crews off and on throughout this parade.
Oh, this will be fun. Today they're pulling a hose cart, which was the fire engine back in the late 1800s across the United States.
Our firefighters, our first responders, everyone in the hospitals, we saw them honored at the Fiesta Parade the other night. We're so fortunate in this community. The police force, we saw them earlier, the sheriffs, the firefighters, you know, being in this very hot climate and the potential for fires throughout the hills, we're in good hands if there is that disaster again.
We're absolutely so incredibly blessed and lucky. You're right, David.
And I think they're having a great time following the charro that just passed us, Los Caporales. So between them and the firefighters and the water being thrown, I think everybody's really enjoying these few moments.
You know, and the best part is they're throwing water, but they're also throwing confetti. And it's fun when you find confetti months later coming out of a shoe or a blouse or something. Who's going to get soaked now? Let's see. Another competition. I see people pulling confetti out of their mouths. I love it. That was great. We want to welcome now the Merced County Sheriff Posse. They are an all-sterling silver mounted group organized back in 1948. This year they were selected to ride in the Rose Parade in Pasadena. The Posse took 12 palominos to this spectacular parade, and today we have Captain Roger Gonzalez. It's another firefighter spray behind you, David. I don't know if you can see it, but the crowd is loving it on this hot, sunny day.
It probably feels really good if you get hit.
The water blast stealing a little bit of the thunder. But again, want to just welcome Captain Roger Gonzalez, First Lieutenant Richard Ellington, Second Lieutenant Lorette Locke, and Trailmaster Eric Gonzalez.
I'm wondering if they could maybe send some of that water down our way. This is definitely one of the hottest days that we've had for a Fiesta Parade, and I'm sure all the crowd getting a little of that water is feeling very, very refreshed.
They're trying not to hit anybody who has an iPhone out, right? A cell phone, a smartphone, or a camera.
When you get to watch to see how much work it takes just to get that siren going. You do that for what, 2 miles?
The hand crank, you're right,
He's going to feel that tonight.
Old Spanish Days is responsible for cleaning up this parade route afterwards. I think at the end of the parade, I'm going to go try to find them, because I think we could put that water hose to good use.
There you go.
You're right. You know, this is a little bit of a funny thing, which I find very humorous. Do I mention this? The horse bingo? The horse
Did they do that this year? I don't even know.
I don't know. I'm not going to call it a cow pie, but it's a horse pie bingo. I'll say it that way.
I'm looking back at the street to find out the horse bingo. They take chalk and they
predicted where there might be some leftovers up and down the street, and it's actually a very good humored, wonderful way.
And they raise money for charity.
They do. It was a great fundraiser. That happened a couple of years ago. It's just been a terrific turnout. I can't say enough about it. Oh, I hear a lot more dancing, see a lot more dancing and music coming down this way.
I see a float rocking.
I think we start to hear the sounds of the...
I think...
the Merced County Sheriff Posse. And, you know, we've seen so many out-of-city organizations come to this parade, and it really shows that their heart is for entertainment for communities throughout the state to come and spend all this time in a parade and to go through everything they do to set up their horses and get outfitted. It's really warming for us in Santa Barbara to see so many different communities from around the state, different law enforcement agencies, charro groups from around all come here and participate in this El Desfile Histórico.
And it really unifies this Golden State, doesn't that? Having all of these folks participating in this grand event. We want to welcome next the Garcia.
Marisa, Ursuya, and also Laura's 6-year-old granddaughter, Camila. And the Garcia family truly embodies the theme of this year's fiesta, Todos Juntos en Familia. Viva la fiesta, viva Garcia Dance Studio, and happy silver anniversary.
And here comes the Kings County Sheriff's Posse. Want to give them a huge welcome as well. Their posse members volunteer their time rescuing large animals during natural disasters, and they have been instrumental in supporting Sheriff Bill Abu in various areas, including promoting youth programs that focus on animal husbandry and other local sheriffs as well. With great outdoors and leadership skills, we thank you so much for your support.
All right, next we're going to welcome the Santa Barbara Historical Museum, celebrating Fiesta history all year long. Their permanent installation, the Edward Boring Gallery, is a tribute to one of the most significant artists in the West. He was one of the founders of our historical parade and Ranchero Vestidores.
Their temporary exhibition, Project Fiesta History of Old Spanish Days, is open throughout September 11th. It highlights the rich history of the tradition of photos, costumes, and so much more.
And this year, Old Spanish Days collaborated with the Historic Museum. At our offices over at the Carriage Museum, we had a box for every year of Fiesta. It's tradition for the Presidente to put in the box memorabilia from the year, the pin, newspaper clippings. It's really the archive of Old Spanish Days Fiesta. And this year, Old Spanish Days collaborated with the Historic Museum, and we have moved those presidential archives, those Fiesta presidential archives, to the Historic Museum. They have that great basement, temperature control and everything, and that's going to assure that the history and the archives and so much of our Fiesta is going to be preserved for generations to come.
I mean, someday it'll be fun to go back and look through all those boxes.
These are time capsules you're talking about.
They are
if you have to say, what was the one thing that really stuck with you?
Well, I think the fact that the Presidentes did such a good job of putting in there things that they felt were important to that year. It was the newspaper articles, it was the programs, it was the pin, there were letters, and there's so much in all of those boxes. And I think the very first one is on display at the museum as part of Project Fiesta. So the Santa Barbara Historical Museum, the executive director, Dacia Harwood, the entire board of directors, really a great collaborative partner with Old Spanish Days Fiesta.
And I just thought about this. We ought to put these notebooks that we have in there somewhere. We'll drop it in one of those boxes and people can go back and see what we were reading during the Fiesta Parade.
And can you imagine the value to have the notes of CJ and Beth on
Oh my God, could you imagine?
And David Bolden and our past historians and experts chiming in. I love it. I think Cabrillo Boulevard has taken on a whole new hue. It's no longer black asphalt.
And undoubtedly at this time of the parade, there's always a gathering of the participants. It's hard to pace the parade for so long equally because each of the entrants has a different pace to it.
Right.
The charro groups on horseback have the walking musicos, so those take a little longer. So we start to kind of see the gathering together of some of our entrants.
But this is nothing compared to what we've had in the past. If you remember the days when the freeway would run right through town and you'd have to stop, and then you got the train, and then you got people who park on the tracks.
That's right.
And all those things.
We want to welcome now the Santa Barbara Police Activities League, also known as PAL, strives to build positive mentoring relationships between teens and the police department and members of the community through educational, athletic, and leadership development programs. Viva la Fiesta PAL! Los Californios making its way down this unique Western and Mexican equestrian riding group. But they've participated in Old Spanish Days for many, many years as well.
And Los Californios, it's an organization throughout the state also where descendants of the state's founders in both the Rancho period, the later U.S. period, all participate. And the Los Californios, somebody in your family had to have been born in California prior to 1850 to qualify.
It's a little bit like Reina del Mar, correct? The golden...
Very similar, and this state has a few of those organizations, and so much enthusiasm by all the participants and members of all of those historic groups.
Okay, and for folks who are getting a little bit warm again, we've been talking about how the Santa Barbara County firefighters have really kind of stolen the show, depending on where they are with their water bursts. I see another one making its way down Cabrillo Boulevard.
More firefighters, yeah.
More firefighters and more water sprays.
So it's really hard to say what the highlight has been so far, but the sounds and the outfits and everything, it's so exciting to watch this parade.
And it's just been thrilling, being, as we've mentioned throughout this entire show, this is the first time that the entire parade of Desfile Histórico is going down its original path, its original parade route from decades ago along Cabrillo Boulevard.
Our parade started as the flower parade early on, and then everything kind of moved to become this fiesta parade that we've all come to not only enjoy, but really consider kind of part of all of our families, right? It's fiesta, it's Santa Barbara. You can't get any better than this.
And I know the folks at home are really enjoying the views for their cameras when we get up high and you can see, again, the beach drop behind us and Stearns Wharf. And again, this is all just a big part of Santa Barbara's history.
And we'd love to put together this platform here, the flowers from Chad's down the street here, Janine's restaurant right in front, the bunting that's there showing the Old Spanish Days colors, the people, they've all come out, they're all participating, and I think everyone's feeling very good today.
Absolutely. And we also want to give thanks to the shuttle drivers. There was some concern about how are folks going to get down to Cabrillo Boulevard. Shuttle drivers going back and forth. That's been a huge, huge help.
And also the downtown organization and Old Spanish Days and the city of Santa Barbara all collaborated to have the free shuttles going from our downtown parking garage. We really wanted to make sure that everyone in this community could really come down and watch this parade if they wanted to. So thank you, downtown organization, and thank you, City of Santa Barbara.
That's right. And we also thank our crews and our colleagues at News Channel, your news channel, for bringing this to you live to your home if, for whatever reason, you're not able to come down here to be here in person.
All right, next we have Chinelos. Am I saying that properly, Dave?
Chinelos, yes.
Okay, good.
We have a little history behind Chinelos because a lot of people were saying, tell us about this group.
So they're from the state of Morelos, which is in kind of the center of Mexico. And they've been at many of our events this past week. Maria Cabrera, this year's La Presidente, really enjoys this group. I think so many of us do as well. And it really is a colorful and very energetic group that brings to all of us Mexican culture. And the dance represents the joy of celebrating the holidays with family and friends. And I think for anyone that lives in Santa Barbara, I think we consider Fiesta a holiday. So how great it is to have the Chinelos here today.
5 days of holiday. I love the reaction from folks who come to visit for the first time as well.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And a big part of Fiesta is the Folklorico Dance, which is the regional dance from different areas of Mexico. It's a folk dance, and it's really almost like Mexican cuisine. Mexican cuisine is a combination, a fusion of Spanish cuisine and also other cultures. There were a lot of Germans that moved into Mexico, and they brought items to the cuisine, and they also have added to the folk dance. So when we see the Folklorico dances during Fiesta, it's really a way for us to honor and celebrate all of the regions of Mexico, and the Chinelos bring to us the dance, the color, and the excitement of Morelos, Mexico.
Let's listen in for a moment.
One of the things when Spain came and established the system of missions, it allowed the native culture to bring their dance and their outfits into the Spanish way of life. And so the faces that we see and the costumes, all of this dates back hundreds of years. Viva Morelos! Viva la fiesta!
Really an homage to Aztec, Mayan, and all the different cultures that are so incredibly colorful and deeply ingrained in this community.
And even when we see the big processions, procesiones, which are the Holy Week processions during Easter week, we see a lot of the regional native cultures in Mexico dressing up with their sacred animal heads or what's sacred to them. And it's spectacular to see it, and it's spectacular to see this group from Morelos, Mexico.
I can see why this is a favorite of El Presidentes, La Presidente, Cabreras this year.
This group has brought so much excitement and so much entertainment to many of the events this week. They performed at the El Presidente party last Sunday. They've been here throughout Fiesta Week with all of us, and you can just tell by the reaction of everybody watching, it's truly something special.
Welcome to the Santa Barbara City Firefighters Association carriage, and we don't even know where to begin, how to thank these brave men and women who faced the largest fire in California history. So much is owed to them, as well as our other local firefighters, and we are forever grateful. Viva la Santa Barbara Firefighters Association.
We had the county firefighters, now the city firefighters. Everybody comes together for Fiesta, and I think it's a great way to end this parade. It's a great way to say thank you to all of our first responders, our healthcare workers, and everybody in this community.
And another highlight, how they actually ride on the wheel, the outside of the wheel. I talked to two of the firefighters today, and they said, it's our first time, we're a little nervous.
And as is tradition, when the last entry of the parade comes through, the community follows. And this year's going to be very interesting because the parade from this location at State and Camarilla continues all the way down to the Hilton. And it's not until the last entrant gets to the Hilton will we see all of the entrants coming back along Camarilla to the home and the start there at the Carriage and Western Art Museum.
So some people were wondering if it was going to come back down Camarilla or a cut-up garden and go that way.
We looked at many routes, many possibilities. The city felt, in looking at all the traffic plans and everything, that it probably wasn't the best route to come through the funk zone. So with consultation of the police department and the traffic department of the city, they came up with the idea to have the turnaround and the return come back along Camarilla Boulevard. So usually when the parade ends, this Camarilla Boulevard opens up again. But today, it's going to remain closed for at least the next hour and a half because every one of the entrants has to come back here and has to come back to our home at the Carriage and Western Art Museum.
Well, I'm seeing a drone flying up and down, so it'll be really wonderful to see those visuals as well. What an incredible parade.
This has been truly a special way to celebrate the 98th anniversary of Fiesta. We've seen it all. Charros, community leaders, we've seen La Presidente this year, we've seen the 20 and the 21 Fiesta families, we've seen the Spirit this year, the Junior Spirit, St. Barbara, Charros, and 380 horses. Where can you beat that?
And I think 380,000 people walking behind us all up and down Cabrillo Boulevard.
You know, it's what's exciting is this is the 98th. A lot of people are already talking about 99 and 100. Very exciting coming up.
And those are going to be here before we know it.
Yes.
It's a 12-month process to plan Fiesta. Next year, 99. The following year, 100. And we want to go well beyond that. We want this to continue, and I think the community is going to do everything possible to make sure that it can continue.
All right, no hints for that. We'll get more information about that coming up, but we welcome you for joining us. We are so grateful that we were able to bring this live this year in 2022. El Desfile Histórico.
Yeah, and David, thank you so much for coming in and giving us so much color and history today. It really does add a lot to all of this.
It's been such a pleasure to be with both of you and to be out here just to see all the faces and the people really respond to this parade. It's been a special day. Thank you so much.
All right, adios, amigos, amigas. Viva la fiesta!
Viva la fiesta!
Viva la fiesta!